It's been frigidly cold and snowing in Cleveland, but the winter meetings start next week, and the stove is already hot. If signing Jaime Barria doesn't warm up your car seats, I don't know what will.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. We're going to see how many times I have to mute. We need a little thing in the corner here, but I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive into it. We got so much to talk about. No preamble. Justin, Jeff, I want to thank you for making Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day, wherever you get podcasts. Remind you to go subscribe on a random computer that you find, as we are 76 away. Just open any computer. Just go around. I might just tomorrow at school offer extra credit to all of my students who go in and do that. Maybe that's the trick. Just that might be not very ethical though. But hey,
YouTube doesn't care.
One does what one does. I don't think it's I mean, compared to what some people think teachers are doing, I think that's not that.
This is fair.
But we got a lot to talk about. Jaime Barria, I do want to say one thing with this before we get into the player. It was about this time 2 years ago-ish, maybe 3 years ago-ish with Santos, who was even less heralded, had less experience, but was kind of in the same window of a minor league contract. So it is kind of funny to go look at Bria, where he's got a 5.5 career WAR on Baseball Reference and a 1.4 on FanGraphs, showing just how different WAR is measured on those two sites. But Bria is he's a nice depth arm who has been a starter. He has been a reliever. He does not miss bats. But why do I like that? I don't know if I necessarily like that, but he's been successful in the past. I know my buddy Tyler Blake Ward liked Bria quite a bit, thought that he had some good growth potential, and the Angels are terrible at all things baseball related. So you're betting on a guy who, maybe could end up being a reliever, maybe could be a depth starter. His first year up, he was excellent as a starter, as a 21-year-old rookie in 2018. He is a classic every other year. I just pointed this out. 123 ERA plus and a 72, a 126, a 97, a 154, and a 79 last year. So he's due.
In theory, we're all due for something, Jeff. In theory, everything works in theory. Yeah, I mean, I really would not drudge into this too much. It's a minor league signing. He was pretty awful last year, and even in a good year, he didn't miss any bats. And the ERA was fine. The FIP was.
Cleveland is good at helping guys maybe find a little more in missing bats, though.
They can, and his average fastball velocity is about 93. Doesn't walk guys. Does appear to have some good off-speed stuff. In 2022, his off-speed stuff did pretty good in terms of preventing run value. So there are some things there they can definitely work with, and at the very least, he's a guy who might be a durable, flexible, versatile arm in AAA who can move back and forth between the pen and the starting rotation if they need it. And yeah, De Los Santos was the one pitcher they signed before the lockout in 2021, and that turned out pretty good. He was definitely a reliever. I'll be curious to see what Cleveland does in terms of his role. But interesting, based on velocity and movement, he is compared to 2020 Will Crow, who was a former Cleveland pick, 2023 Peyton. Yeah, multi-time draft, who also free agent, by the way. Cleveland really wants to get in on that one again. 2023 Peyton Battenfield and 2022 Tyler Mahle, who we might talk about in a little bit. We're going to talk about mostly today winter meetings stuff. So
one last note on Bria. He's really good at avoiding hard hit percentage. So just the last thing. That's the one thing that's been consistent. He does not get hit hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious if that has any predictive value or not. It looks like he does consistently. 2021, that was not true. He was pretty awful. He was in the 25th percentile. Last 2 years, much better. So, at the least, this is a depth arm. It's a depth signing. I wouldn't read too much into it unless Cleveland really...
Future ace. You heard it here first. I'm kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of silly statements, Jeff, I feel like it's time to... You said this yesterday after we stopped recording. It is probably that time of year to remind people about rumors and the winter meetings. Okay. First, I'll tell you again, this is my rule for this. If Zach doesn't tweet it, if Mandy doesn't tweet it, if Jeff Passan doesn't tweet it, if Ken Rosenthal doesn't tweet it or write about it, or any of those people don't write about it, I'm not looking into it. Anybody else is suspect at best. I mean, I know you got your John Heymans and John Morosi's and your Bob Nightingales and
that guy who's
Joel
got a friend in
Sherman's.
the organization.
Everybody's got a guy who claims to work in baggage and shipping and the food service company for Cleveland that knows a guy who flew into Hopkins the other night for a meeting. Don't listen to those people. Those are the people I would trust listening to any rumors come out there. Don't even listen to us. We don't know anything. We're just sitting here talking about it. Like, I don't have any real connections to that. I'm just gonna put, maybe this week I'll experiment. Next week I'll just start tweeting out source and just put some random thing together. Like, there was someone who tweeted yesterday. It said, sources, Mets have found Jordan Montgomery interesting. Great. I think 30 teams find Jordan Montgomery interesting. You're not really breaking any news there.
Source.
So
team is interested in Ohtani. All teams would like to add Ohtani. That is a source. Told me that every team would like to have
all
him.
teams do not want to pay Ohtani, but interest is there. So yeah, just be careful of rumors. And also remember this with Cleveland too. Cleveland is almost never in rumors seriously. Like this whole, okay, so we'll talk about Shane Bieber. This whole Shane Bieber thing right now. And
John Morosi just wants to trade everyone from Cleveland.
From Cleveland, yeah. Like, Cleveland doesn't put themselves out in rumors, and if they do, they're looking to leverage something. And what the old rule that everybody stands by is, who does this rumor stand to benefit? Who is buying? Like, I feel like the 30 executives in baseball now are more than smart enough not to are smart enough to see through games being played through reporters and media and social media. But it's always good to float out there if maybe you're talking to multiple teams and you're trying to drum up some interest and say, well, you're not going to tell, like, let's just point to the Shane Bieber thing. Let's say Cleveland's talking to the Cubs, the Reds, about Shane Bieber. You're not going to tell, you're not going to be honest when you're making trades saying, oh, well, I don't have anybody else lined up, so it's you or nobody else. We're not trading them. Of course you're going to want interest out there. Like, you're not going to just say there's no interest. You want there to be interest. But remember who stands to benefit from these rumors. And Cleveland is almost never publicly connected to anybody. And oftentimes, I'm not saying reporters get used, but oftentimes you do see them put out stuff that they're being fed. Like, they have certain contacts that they want to get information from. So agents put stuff out there. Like, just be aware of what you're listening to. Always, and especially in today's social media and how Twitter X is now, just look at that profile twice before you retweet something too, because blue checks can be bought now and profiles can be faked. And don't buy anybody who's also changing their profile to have fun with people too. It is that time of year.
What was the one that got a lot of people earlier this year? When we won't say his name, we'll give him who likes to change.
Well, there was first there was Ahmed Rosario signing an extension, and then I can't remember what the other one was.
Wasn't it? Oh, it was Craig Counsell. That's what it was. It was Craig Counsell. People like to be jerks. Like, there's no way around it, and they're trying to get got. Don't get got.
Yeah, don't get got. Think twice.
Have some media literacy.
Media literacy. And that's a good rule in general for the internet. My day job, I work in marketing for cybersecurity. And we have a rule when it comes to phishing emails about using the 3-second rule before you click on something, or scanning the information in the email address. It's a good thing to do in life, whether it's email or social media. It's a good thing to quickly scan. We've got some Shane Bieber stuff we want to talk about. Obviously, there was the John Morosi thing. We will talk about that because we'll see how many times it's going to come up at the winter meetings. We want to talk about some starting pitching depth, and we also want to get you ready for Rule 5 and Draft Lottery. So let's come back and do that here on Locked On Guardians. I meant to look up what the odds are in MLB. I don't know if FanDuel's got anything going on. I'm going to look at it real quick as far as the winter meetings goes. But if you are into betting on the NFL, FanDuel has got a great deal for you right now. First time brand new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any
World Series odds, league winners.
World Series odds. Okay. With any winning money line bet gets you $150 if you are a new customer. It's $150 if your team wins. So if you think about joining FanDuel, no better time to get in on the action. Yeah, I wish they had MLB stuff right now.
You can do home runs and stolen bases, but nothing for the winner.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for more like rumors and other silly stuff you could do.
Will Ohtani sign at the winter meetings? Like, something like that.
Yeah, there's something like that there. But if you're not into that, or if you can't do that and you're not ready to go on to MLB, we'll talk about some over-unders on rumors and such like that. But let's see, the Browns this week, the money lines plus 148. That's interesting. Might be an ugly game with the Rams. I don't know. But if you're not into that or you don't love that money line bet, FanDuel's got a wide range of options. Obviously, there's spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NFL season or keep it kicking. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. And remember, this is next week for MLB fans. It's a good time to tune into Locked On Sports Today. It is the first ever national sports 24 streaming channel on YouTube, covering the top stories across the league, all sports really, with local experts on Locked On, plus all the national shows covering every league. So go watch our pal Sully on Locked On MLB after you're done listening to us next week. After every day of the winter meetings on Locked On Sports Today on YouTube. Subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Hopefully we'll be on there talking about stuff. Hopefully Sully will be on there talking about Guardian stuff. All right, Jeff, how many times is Sully going to talk about on his show about Shane Bieber rumors? How many Shane Bieber rumors at the winter meetings, over under?
So just based like on from our Locked On hosts. From our Locked On host, like Sean with Locked On Orioles has reached out to me tomorrow. We might have a bonus episode. I promised Javi, just because he's been a good friend over the years, that I would, after this show gets done at 11 o'clock my time, I would go do a show with him just to talk Shane Bieber. So maybe, you'll be asleep because it'll be midnight your time. But if I can get the audio and stuff, maybe I upload it as a bonus show on the weekend. If not, go check out Locked On Padres. Do some sistership promotion. But everyone wants to talk Bieber. Even with the down year, he is a player who everyone knows Cleveland's MO, and they have never held on to. I mean, Ubaldo Jimenez and Michael Brantley and Carlos Santana are the last three guys that they did not extract value from, right? And two of those guys, they did get a draft pick. So they don't hold on. They do not listen to Wilson Phillips. They do not hold on for one more day.
Philip Phillips. How dare you? Philip Phillips. Put some respect on his name. That is an Ooh, I was going to say American Idol winner, but I don't know if he won American Idol. We don't have time for American Idol today.
The original is Wilson Phillips, the man for the 80s.
Oh, wow. That's ironic.
Yes. I mean, I don't know who Philip Phillips is. So we're showing our age gap here. But
I got the wrong name.
Oh.
No, it is Philip Phillips. Hold on. Okay, I'm good. I got that right. But at least the secondary one.
But yeah, they're going to keep talking. Cleveland is always open for business. They are always open for business.
Except for Jose Ramirez.
They pretty much said.
Although I did have that prepared.
That should have been that. There's our betting angle. What is the odds that Morosi is going to float a Jose Ramirez trade story?
All right, but over under on Shane Bieber.
Jose Ramirez for this. Here's the trade rumor. John Morosi is going to report that the Tigers are trading Baez for Ramirez. And he is going to claim that is an excellent deal. That is John Morosi's trade.
I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes the Mariners one again, because the Mariners traded Eugenio Suarez. Third base is open, and he was, for some odd reason, back in the end of the year, was talking about that as a wish list item for the Mariners. But okay, we've already got.
I had Mariners writers reach out to me about how ridiculous that was. But yeah, there's going to be a lot. Shane Bieber is going to be a popular name because Cleveland does deals. But when was the last time they made a big trade at the winter meetings?
Well, they did make the
Yanni Diaz.
Huh?
Was Lindor?
It was January.
It was January.
Okay. January. The last trade that really happened for Cleveland at the winter meetings was, I think they traded Sin-Soo Choo that year at the winter meetings. It was like the last day. Yeah, they got Bauer and Brian Shaw. They got Brian Shaw
and Matt Albert.
Brian Shaw is a free agent. Just saying, we should mention him.
He was closer. Brian Shaw. Put some respect there.
Actually had a decent year for the White Sox.
Yeah, he wasn't bad for the White Sox.
A couple years ago, when they traded Edwin and Yandy Diaz, and they got Carlos Santana back. That was a winter meetings deal.
That deal never happened. I refuse to accept that deal.
Technically, that deal did not happen at the winter meetings because it happened on the plane. Because I remember Zach telling the story about him being on the plane when the trade got announced, and he couldn't post anything because it happened, and they had to turn their cell phones off. And so technically, it happened when they were flying back from the winter meetings. So I don't know if that counts, but I'm going to go with over under on Shane Bieber rumors at the winter meetings. I'm going to go over 5.
See, I was thinking like 10. I feel like it's just going to be.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because we've seen a lot of pitching move, but they're still like, what do the Cardinals still probably need? Another starter. What do they have? Outfielders for days. It's like you go through. Atlanta wants to add another starter. They don't have anything to trade. I know, but
let's okay. Is this a John Morosi rumor, or will it be a rumor? Like, if Jeff Passan tweets it, if Ken Rosenthal writes about it,
it's not going to be like specific linked teams, but like it's going to be like local writers. I feel like Mike, especially because like if you don't follow the Guardians, you probably just know that Shane Bieber got hurt, and you don't know that he was also not great. Like, like a lot of teams are going to treat a lot of writers, right? Like this is Shane Bieber of 2020, or even Shane Bieber of 2020, 2019. Like, and he hasn't really been that guy the last few years. He was okay. 2022, he's still a very good pitcher, but he wasn't a top 15 guy anymore. And I think we're just going to see a lot of people assuming that Cleveland has no money, which they probably don't. And then a lot of people just going to throw him in why this team should trade for Shane Bieber. And then the problem is someone writes an article like that saying, hey, this team should trade for him. And then it goes 2 steps down the line again because of media literacy. And someone's like, hey, they're saying that they're going to trade for Shane Bieber, even though the article originally said why they should trade.
Right. Not a sourced rumor. Right.
Yeah.
I will say that Shane Bieber will not get traded at the winter meetings.
Nope.
Cleveland does not make this kind of trade there. I know the Sin-Soo Choo trade, I think, did happen at the winter meetings, but I don't think this is the kind of trade they will make at the winter meetings. This feels like more like a late December, early January type of move after the rest of the pitching market has moved and somebody misses out on their target, like a Jordan Montgomery or who knows. We'll talk about some other guys. Will the Guardians make any moves in Nashville? Will they sign anybody or trade for anybody? I'm going to go ahead and say they will. Look, their roster's already at 40 guys right now. So any in addition to the Major League roster will require a move, which is why we'll talk about that in the Rule 5 preview. But I'm going to say Cleveland comes home from Nashville with no new players.
Sadly, I agree.
No new Major League players. I'm sure they'll take someone in the minor league portion.
Yeah, we'll have some minor league guys to talk about.
Yeah.
Hey, they turned Chris Roller into something. They got some cash. Like they've had some success. Eric Sabrowski just got a really nice write up over at FanGraphs.
Yeah, we'll talk. I have him loaded for Rule 5. We'll talk about him. Yeah. Starting pitching depth real quickly before we move on to Rule 5. Since we're talking about not signing anybody at the winter meetings, here's some interesting options for Cleveland. I would probably, I don't know. See, I'm on the fence here. I think Cleveland hasn't signed a pitcher, a starting pitcher, I should say, to a major league contract since 2015 when they got Gavin Floyd, and that worked out really well for them. So, and they traded away Cal Quantrill already because they had 6 starters for 5 spots and they didn't want to pay his contract. And if they trade Shane Bieber, obviously they'll probably need somebody. Maybe if they do end up trading him, they'll have someone, I don't know, I guess signing. I'd be very surprised if they sign someone to a major league deal as far as the starting pitcher is concerned. Although, I'd be very interested in signing Brandon Woodruff, who's having shoulder surgery. That's going to take a pillow contract where you've got to pay him in 2024 to rehab and not be available. And then in 2025, you're hoping that this serious shoulder surgery, he recovers from it. But a lot of talent there. It's an interesting gamble. Tyler Mahle, probably the same thing. Those are the only two. I mean, Jack Flaherty, if they're really looking to rehab somebody, but he's going to get a major league deal.
Frankie Montas would be the other guy.
I think he's going to get a major league deal too, so I don't know about that. So I have Dakota Hudson, Spencer Turnbull, Carlos Carrasco, and Kobe Allard. Now, Kobe Allard, I wouldn't really be too hyped about because he's been awful. It's more of a first-round pedigree with him, and if Cleveland sees something, they can help. But he's been terrible. He just has the first-round pedigree. But, a Spencer Turnbull, Carlos Carrasco minor league signing would be interesting because obviously bring Cookie home. I really like Spencer Turnbull. Obviously threw a no-hitter a couple years ago. I like his stuff. I
would like Turnbull back to his Alabama days. So, and yeah, he's most famous for that no hitter, but he was actually pretty solidly an underrated pitcher. Even before that, like he was a solid, steady mid rotation starter on just terrible teams. So he got missed.
Do you think that it's possible to give him a minor league deal at this point? I mean,
why not try? Like,
yeah,
because here's the one thing: Cleveland's superpower is helping pitchers, right? So there is a world where a player, listen, they're always going to accept a major league deal, but Cleveland's minor league deal, in some respects, might be more enticing than a major league deal from like Kansas City. Like, which one is likely to lead to more money down the road? Cleveland,
or
right?
Even if they don't have the space for him, like let's say you get Spencer Turnbull and maybe you don't find a spot for him because you still have Bieber and McKenzie, and for somehow they're healthy and Turnbull's doing great in AAA. Guess what? They're going to trade you to a spot where
and they never do those guys dirty.
No, they are very good about those kind of opportunities. So Turnbull and Carrasco are the two guys I like in terms of minor league deals, if that's possible. I think for sure Carrasco is only going to get a minor league deal, but hey, if he's going to accept one from somebody, it might as well be Cleveland and see if he can come back and help out. He always said he wanted to finish his career here. I know someone's probably going to say, what about Kluber? Kluber was not good last year either, and I just don't think that there's a reason to go there. But
Kluber at least got tried in that relief role, and he just didn't have anything left. Carrasco, I don't think really got tried. I could be wrong here. Go ahead and let me know in the comments if I butchered that. But and he's Cookie. I don't know. I just have a little bit more of a place in my heart for Cookie. I love Kluber as well. He's great. He's a top 5 pitcher of my life in Cleveland. All those people who talk about him being a choker can just log off this video right now.
Everybody who says that did not watch the first 2 rounds of 2016 playoffs and didn't watch the first 2 starts of the World Series. All right, keep watching or listening, I guess, to Locked On Guardians. We've got Rule 5 and Draft Lottery coming up here. Preview for the winter meetings that are coming up next week. We'll have it all covered here on Locked On Guardians. All right, let's start with Rule 5 very quickly. So the Rule 5 draft is December 6th. I don't know. Do we need to run through the Rule 5 draft? It's anybody who's not on the 40-man roster who has had 5 years in one minor league system since they've been drafted. If you're a high school player, it's 4. If you're a college player or you're over the age of 19 or 18, I should say, and you get 90 days to keep that guy on your roster, you got to offer him back to their team. Teams also do have there is a minor league portion of the Rule 5 draft that is very secretive for some reason. Teams can protect an additional 30 players from that. And that's basically anybody who hasn't reached AA.
And that's why you see guys getting moved right now, like up to AAA, because they would if they're still in AA, they would qualify. So if you're seeing like why the season isn't happening, why are guys being moved in the minors? That's why.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on the minor league Rule 5 draft. Those things are weird, but here's a list of guys I put together that I think are potential losses for Cleveland. Brian Lavastida catching, never know with him. He was on the 40-man roster a couple years ago. He's actually playing winter ball right now. Had a couple good days here. Tanner Burns has been on a couple lists.
I don't get it, but maybe
I don't either.
Something I don't see.
I think it's just a first round pedigree thing. I think people see this as a former first round talent from an SEC school with success. Maybe there's something they can do, but if Cleveland can't do it, I don't know who else can. But we'll see. These are low risk moves. Like you take a guy like that, and if it works out, boom, you got a gem.
We saw Kyle, no knocking Kyle Dowdy, who I thought was a really great interview and stuff like that. But we saw him get selected just because he gained a bunch of velocity when he came to Cleveland, and then I don't know if he ever pitched in the bigs.
Yeah, he got a little time with Texas, I think. Nick Enright, who was picked last year, he beat cancer. He's back for Rule 5 eligible after coming back to Cleveland. There's Ethan Hankins, who's a former first-round pick who hasn't been above high A. We talked about him. There is Eric Sabrowski. I wrote down Ethan. Eric Sabrowski, who Cleveland actually took from San Diego in a minor league Rule 5 draft a couple of years ago, who had an interesting AFL, and we saw some interesting a write-up on Fangraphs from him that had some interesting him. And then infielder Diane Frias, who's got a lot of fans in the organization and among prospect people who, might be able to play 3 positions as a switch hitter, doesn't strike out, can lift the ball. I
kind of feel like he's the most likely guy to be selected, weirdly, just because of how many fans he has. He has the most fans.
Maybe. I think it's either, if it's not him, then to me it's either Lavastida or Burns, because Burns just seems to get.
Yeah, I guess it's probably, I would actually say Burns than him, but
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Very quickly, we just put together a quick list of Rule 5 guys. RJ Dabovich, who's a right-handed pitcher from San Francisco, who throws up to 100. Justin Slayton.
Two potential plus pitches from talking to someone.
Justin Slayton is a guy who's got a high fastball as well and has a decent amount of command, at least struggling in AAA last year. Shane Drohan's an athletic left-handed pitcher from the Boston system, kind of a former top 10 prospect for them, really good changeup. Struggled last year quite a bit. I like him. And then, Jeff, you wanted to put Asa Lacy on here, who's a former Cleveland draft pick. He
didn't pitch at all last year. He's just kind of completely he was a 4th overall pick. And he's had 80 innings. He's dealt with health issues, but he's been in the Kansas City, who can't develop at all. Look at all of those pitchers. They have nothing to show for any of them. So maybe you can find something there. If he's still hurt, apparently, you can also stash him. It gives you an ability to kind of play around a bit.
Yeah. Let's also note again, though, Cleveland doesn't have a 40-man spot open. So if they're going to take anybody, they have to remove somebody from the 40-man roster. Maybe it'll be Alfonso Rivas finally. I don't know. But as of right now, Cleveland cannot participate in the Rule 5 draft, not the major league portion. They could participate in the minor league portion. And I'm almost guaranteeing they'll take a pitcher or a catcher of some sort because they always seem to do that. So we'll see what they do there. But right now they cannot participate. So if they do, I think if they do clear a spot, it's likely going to be for a pitcher, maybe a depth arm. I would say an outfielder, but there's just no outfielders out there. I know a couple commenters are talking about Hudson Haskin. He's just not a Guardians type guy, and the tools have not really played out on the field for him yet. And Cleveland's not going to take that risk. He doesn't fit their profile, and guy who's going to have a hard time sticking to major league level anyway right now. All right, everybody's favorite thing in Cleveland, the draft. The draft lottery is December 5th. That's actually going to be televised at night on MLB Network if anybody gets that. I don't even get that anymore. And I got to say, how much I used to love the MLB Network and how much I love baseball, I haven't really missed it. So I'll try to tune into this, though.
You got to be able to watch on the app, right? That's how I'm planning to try to catch it. The app typically has these things.
So the draft lottery will be aired live December 5th at night, and from the winter meetings. Cleveland's current draft odds right now have them picking 8th.
Yes,
in terms,
but
of
it is a weird 8. So they're 8, even though they have the 9th worst record, because the Nationals can only pick as high as 10th. That's the highest they can pick because they can't pick in the top 10 2 years in a row with the new rules. Now Cleveland is 8. The New York Mets are 7. Unless the Mets move into the top 6, they have to fall back 10 spots because of where they were in the luxury tax. Same deal with the Padres, same deal with the Yankees. All 3 of those teams, unless they move top 6, will fall back 10 spots. So Cleveland could not win the lottery and still move up. Last year, the Twins were supposed to pick 13th, and they moved up to 5th and got Walker Jenkins, who many considered to be a top 4 player in the draft, due to just the way things fell on draft night. It worked out really well for the Twins. So yeah, Cleveland's got a chance. Their chance of picking number 1 is 2%, but the top 6 picks are in play. So no one has listed that I have found. Please link below if you have this information. Like, what are their odds are at 2nd? What are their odds at 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th? Because I feel like that might be more. But Cleveland is, and here's the only thing, they have the same record as the Pirates. They're this close to being just a little bit higher. But yeah, they have, it's going to be the first time with top 10 picks since Clint Frazier. So it's an important pick. It's the worst pick of the Tito run. Unfortunately, his final year gets him here. It's an interesting draft. Quickly, we're going to throw some names. One of the names that we didn't have in the original list, I at least have to mention Carson Benj, whose brother Garrett Benj is retired now, but was drafted by the Guardians in 2022. So this fits with they know the family and my younger brother theory. So Carson Benj, he missed Tommy John, kind of a pop-up guy. Travis Manzani is, to me, the top guy. An Australian, great data, infielder, but really good, I think he has plus power potential. JJ Weatherholt hit 400 as a shortstop, is great hit tool. Nick Kurtz, we've talked about on the show. I'm going to be quiet now.
Just watch on YouTube. Who do we like in the top 10? I think the Guardians are going to get a top 10 pick. It just depends on where they fall in the 10. Nick Kurtz. I like Nick Kurtz. I also like Nick Kurtz, and I think Nick Kurtz would be a great addition to the organization too. So that does our show today. Thank you. And
here, I'll do my little plug right now. MLBDraftNow.blogspot.com. It's where I do my like personal draft writing. I have my way too early mock from November. I'll probably do a personal mock some point next week, a video one that may not be here. It might be on my personal stuff, just so there's space and time to do 30 picks, because that's hard to do in one episode. But that'll come together, and we'll get that. I will get that figured out. But if you want more information on all of these guys, I'm just like on here. I have no breath. It's all wide, so you can go to. I can also drop the link in the comments below, but you can go find information on a lot of these top prospects there for free.
All right. So next week, here's our schedule. We're going to obviously talk about the winter meetings every day next week. We'll recover any rumors the Guardians are mentioning, or if they're actual rumors, quote unquote. We'll have a show on the Rule 5 draft, see if Cleveland loses or gains anybody. We'll talk about the minor league stuff, and we'll obviously have a really fun show. I know Jeff's excited to talk about draft stuff the night of the draft lottery show. It'll be out there. And then don't forget tomorrow. Today's already Thursday. Friday is our mailbag show. So if you haven't got any questions in yet, hit us with your questions either on a YouTube comment or over on Twitter somewhere, or let us know if you need another way to reach out to us. We'll figure that out if we have to. But Mailbag Friday, hit us with any questions you got there, and we'll of course have more positional preview reviews, and let's make a deal with 29 other teams in the league. So stay tuned for a lot of good stuff.
And remember to go subscribe, and go Guardians, go subscribe.